All right, we have an exciting show today. We are highlighting an emerging brand franchise that is founded and being run by a really, really pure entrepreneur. You're not going to want to miss this.
This is the Franchise Pitfalls and Profit Show. Each week, we bring you the challenges and triumphs of being in the franchise development and consulting business. The things you need to make money faster. And now your host, one of the most successful franchise developers in North America, Don Shin.
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome, Matt. I am just super jazzed to introduce Matt Rivera and talk about his story, an incredible story. I mean, if there is a guy that is the epitome of being an entrepreneur, I think it's Matt. And so I'm just jazzed because the audience, Matt, I think I told you this already, are people looking to buy a franchise or get into business for themselves, franchise consultants, other emerging brand founders and executives. And so I think they're just going to be really, really jazzed to hear your story, how you got started, how the franchise went initially, some of the other things you've done in the recent year or so. So I'm going to let you just a quick personal introduction, if you would, because I don't know all the stuff that you're doing. I know some of the stuff that you're doing, but give us like a 30-second 30-second introduction, and then I'll start peppering you with some questions.
Okay. 30-second intro. Well, thank you for letting me be on. I'm excited to be here. 30-second intro. I'm Matt Rivera, the CEO of the Inspection Boys. We are an emerging brand. We've sold about 26 locations. We have about 11 or 12 open. And over the next couple of years, we plan on being the biggest home inspection company in the United States. So we want to have about 600 to 1,000 locations. We have a bigger partner that partnered with us about 2 years ago, Loyalty Brands. The founding father there is John Hewitt, who started Jackson Ura Tax Service and Liberty Tax Service. So we have some people behind us that really know what they're doing in the franchising space.
Awesome. And he failed to say, I mean, I know you're a real estate mogul. You got deals going all over the place. So he's into real estate, and I don't know what all else he's in. But
yeah,
hey,
no, we have other businesses. We're heavily in the real estate industry. Since we do home inspections, we flip houses, we buy buildings, we do everything in that realm. I'm a franchise person now. We have an AR development. We're purchasing 3 brands for the Long Island area to develop. So I believe in the process. I believe in everything in it. If you do it right, it works.
Awesome. Super. Thanks. All right. Well, let's chat about when you were first, and we're going to focus a little bit on the Inspection Boys. But when you first got into it, you probably had a vision or some belief of what things were going to look like. So I'd love to hear what you were thinking when you were first contemplating, starting a franchise or making your business a franchise.
So it's a little funny. When I went to home inspection school, I remember saying to myself, I would never franchise. That's the dumbest thing in the world. Why would I give anybody else my money? I could do it myself. I could do it. And I remember everybody else in the room, they're like, well, I would never pay anybody a percentage. And then I did it. I learned a lot. I made a lot of mistakes. And around 2016, 2017, I opened up a home inspection school. So now I started teaching people like me. The thing was that it was like every other school, 90% of the people fail. And I started asking myself, why did they fail? And it wasn't that they weren't good home inspectors. Being a good home inspector isn't hard. It was that they weren't good at running a business. They didn't understand what they needed to do. They needed a market. They needed to plant seeds. All the stuff that you need to do behind the scenes that aren't home inspecting is what they needed to do. And they had nobody telling them to do that. The school teaches you how to be a good home inspector. It teaches you how to get your license. It doesn't teach you how to market. It doesn't teach you how to run a business. It doesn't teach you accounting. So all of that stuff is what they failed at. And setting goals and understanding their expectations. I would tell them, like, hey, it's going to take you a year and you're not going to make any money. And then by year two, it's going to start rolling in. By year two, they all drop out because they figured, hey, I spent $2,000 for a license. I'm good.
Yep.
So that's when I started saying to myself, let me do some research. And I looked, and locally here on Long Island, the four biggest companies at that time were franchises. So I started thinking to myself, well, isn't that ironic? The four companies that make the most money are franchises, and all the other mom and pops are nowhere even near them. Why?
Yep.
It was because the systems, the processes, and somebody was holding them accountable for what they had to do, and they were making way more. They didn't care about paying the royalty because they were doing better.
Yep. Yep. And so the franchise, which is a great endorsement for franchising overall, your systems, you learn how to do business. It's the business side of whatever industry you're in, which is awesome. So, like you said, somebody could be a great cook and think they can open up a restaurant, or a great inspector and run an inspecting business, but they bought themselves a job. They before they had the franchise, it's really just a job. So now when you so that's what was in your mind when you were starting. Has it changed at all now that you've been operating the franchise? You've been a franchisor for a while now. So has your vision changed and I knowing you a little bit the last couple of years, I think it probably has, but how has your vision changed from when you started as an emerging brand and now?
Well, now, I mean, I want to say we know we're going to be the biggest in the United States. The vision hasn't changed. Now I'm just more confident that we will get there. One of the biggest things that changed was when we started, we had expectations, and we thought we knew what the ideal candidate was. So we would instantly, almost judge people like, oh, they're not going to be good. They're going to be good. And what I've learned is that was the worst mistake,
Yeah.
because the people that we thought were going to be great dropped off. The people that we thought weren't going to be good, became amazing. So right now, I don't judge anybody. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what they came from. And it's really a matter if they're going to follow the system and listen, that they could be successful.
Yep. So what's been and maybe it was that, or maybe there were some other challenges. I always like to ask, what were some of your biggest challenges, and what, because again, we have a lot of emerging brand brothers and sisters out there, so to speak, with emerging brands, and they may be going through some of what you did. So what were one of the two of the bigger challenges that you faced, and what did you do to address it?
So, I mean, I would say the biggest challenge is franchising. It's a different business. We're
Yeah.
good at home inspections. We're good at setting up home inspection companies. What is franchising? So, our expectations were, okay, you get an FDD, you get a document, you're good to go. There's a lot of legal stuff. There's a lot of lawyers. There's a lot of people out there that just, take your money. So just learning, it's a totally different business, a totally different game. So learning and basically trying not to make the mistakes over and over, because you don't want to sell somebody a franchise in a state you're not allowed to sell, or there's a lot of mistakes you can make that are costly.
Yeah.
So just meeting the right people like like John Hewitt, being around people that have done it, that have made the mistakes, has been the best advice I could give anybody. The mistakes that I made cost me money. If I could tell you them, I saved you the money.
Yep, yep. And you're so right. I tell people looking at franchises to look at the leadership, look at the ownership, and do they have both the industry experience as well as do they have franchising experience in their leadership, in their management, in their development teams. So you bring up a great point, both for emerging brand owners as well as some of the consultants and the brokers listening. Tell me some of the highlights. What have been some of the really great, cool things, exciting things that have happened over the last couple of years?
I mean, the highlights have really been meeting people, people I never thought I would meet, learning all the different aspects of the business and learning how many people are actually involved and make money doing it. Like I said, John Hewitt, he's a dinosaur in this industry. He's killed it. He's made over 10,000 uh, units sold. He's had, I can't even name all the stuff he's done. Being able to talk to him on a regular, learn from him,
Yeah.
get his advice is, priceless. And he's got a team of people that are all in the same realm that have done this. They've been in the industry before it was an industry. That's what I said it today to somebody. I said, it's not, it's more about the journey, just
Yeah.
learning, meeting the people and enjoying it.
That's cool. Yeah, that's really, really cool. That's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. Were there any surprises? Something that I mean, just like really hit you, like, holy cow, I never thought of that. Any surprises? I always like to hear if and those are sometimes some of the funnier stories too.
Um, I mean, the one surprise is it doesn't happen fast. You wake up, you say, I'm going to franchise my business, and you're like, well, I'm going to sell 30 units this year. And you go through the whole year and you didn't sell one. So that I think every franchise goes through that. Um, but one big surprise that I learned, and we didn't really, when I understood it more, was the area developer, the
Hmm.
area rep model. It's how you expand fast and you get good people on your team without paying for them.
Yeah.
For me, that was like a eye opener, because if you get somebody that's going to buy a territory, they're paying you for it, and they're also going to develop it. That's huge.
Yep.
It puts numbers on the board. It gives the franchise money to operate, and it gets you a team player that knows what they're doing. And most people that are looking for an area rep, an area developer, have some type of experience, have some money, and are ready to do it. They're not just the guy that's like, oh, I saved up $10,000. Let me
Yeah.
try to buy a franchise.
Yeah. Yeah. The one who's got $5,000 or $10,000 burning a hole in their pocket and want to do something with it. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's another level, and it's fun from the standpoint of the franchisor working with them, from the standpoint of a consultant or a broker. Whole lot more fun working with that kind of a person because they're more of a business person. They're not just somebody looking to buy a job or to
Yeah.
just
No,
kind of
and
slip
it's a
over.
win-win. They
Yep.
make money, you make money, everybody makes money. The franchisee makes money. If it's set up right, everybody wins.
Yep, yep, for sure. Let me do this. Um, let's talk a little bit about you because you said earlier on about learning who are your better franchise candidates. Who have turned out to be your best franchisees versus ones you thought might be good, but haven't turned out to be that good. So I always like to have folks like yourself be describe a little bit more about the business and who you're looking for, because of the business, to kind of match up that our business and this is who we're looking for.
Um, I mean, so when we first started, I'm a natural entrepreneur. I always want to build stuff. I want to grow. And I thought people like me were the ideal candidate. So when I talked to people on the phone and they wanted to change the world and do all of this stuff, that excited me. In all reality, they're probably not the ideal candidate. Only because if they haven't done it before, they want to change the process before they even start the process.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that originally we had talked to or spoke to, they were like, oh yeah, I want to try this, I want to do that, and I want to do this. It excited me because I want people to try things. But what I've learned is those people never actually do the process. They just want to change it before they even start it. And it's always an excuse.
Right.
So that's one of the biggest things I've learned. Like when I'm talking to somebody, if they're not really interested in following the process, doing what we said, they're not the ideal candidate. Maybe later on, maybe at a different time, maybe an area rep model where they don't
Yeah.
have to open up as much, where they're
Yeah.
managing. But for somebody that wants to open a location, whatever business it's in, they have to be, fully engulfed in the process. This is what I got to do, and I'm going to do every single step.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I know because we did work together a little bit on a client type relationship. I know there was a time when there were certain professions, like maybe law enforcement or people coming out of the firemen, firewomen. Is that still true, or are there any professions like that, anything like that might be a good match for you guys?
Well, the firefighters, the first responders, they're really good candidates for a few different reasons. The first reason is a lot of them have like a 20-year and retire policy where, they got in at 20 years old, they're 40 years old, they just retired. They have full benefits, they have, a retirement. So they have time to build a business and they have a little bit of income coming in. So it works really well for them. They're also really good inspectors and they do good at the job because a lot of firefighters and cops do have side jobs.
Yeah.
So, they did construction, they did electrical work. So they understand that. So as long as they learn how to run the business, they're good. But now we've also branched out and started reaching out to people with money
Mhm.
or business experience. Like originally, we were a low priced franchise. We're $40,000. We're not one of the higher price. Our vehicles and equipment are cheap, so it's a low entry franchise. So we were like, we could cater to anybody.
Mhm.
But now we're like, well, let's cater to the person that wants, 2 or 3 territories, that wants to put a manager, that wants to start from day one, that understands business and says, okay, I'm going to give you a year. We're going to set everything up and let's talk year 2 and see where we're at, because the people that come in and think it's a McDonald's or a Burger King where you open a door and they're busy really don't work. You have to put the work in for a good year so you could reap the benefits year 2, and then it
Yeah.
goes from there.
Yeah, yeah, which is the case, in probably 70 or 80% of the franchises out there. You really gotta make sure you're getting out of the office, and you really got to make sure you're following the system, particularly in the early stages, like you were just mentioning. Um, well, wow, Matt, this has been awesome. I always ask one kind of closing question of everybody that I'm with, especially someone with your experience and the experiences you've been through in franchising as well as just as an entrepreneur. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like to share? Just something that would really or potentially really impact somebody again that is either thinking of starting their own business or thinking of turning their brand into a franchise, or again even the franchise consultants that watch my show. Anything that you might kind of parting words or last thoughts?
I mean, I'm a big, set goals. Get clear expectations of what you want to do, how you want to do it. No matter what brand or industry you're in, it's definitely possible. And surround yourself with the right people.
Awesome. Awesome. Hey, you've been great. I hope you had fun. I had fun.
I
I'm going to
did.
call you real quick right after the show, but thanks, Matt. And again, everybody go check out theinspectionboys.com. Thanks again, Matt.
Thank you.